Shooting! We all love shooting. And the most important type of shot to get, as far as jump shots go, is the wide open three. We know players shoot much better when they're unguarded, and the goal of virtually every offense in the NBA is to create layups by any means necessary and to create wide open, high value jumpers for good shooters. Sometimes coaches can concoct, say that 3 times fast. Coaches can concoct. Yeah, it's terrible. So they can concoct or structure the offense that relies on well timed sequences by the players to create wide open looks. But mostly teams are relying on players to get to dangerous spots on the floor and to bend the defense out of shape to find open players with the pass. Superstars create the best looks the most often, and the Raptors will be looking to Scotty Barnes to carry that load more than anyone else going forward. However, what if they don't want to be over-reliant on him? What if they're looking to avoid the heliocentric Luka-ification, Harden-ification of an offense? What if they don't want to waste time on the clock or dribbles? Even more to that point, what if you don't want your shooters getting run off the line in the playoffs? What if you want to guarantee volume and efficiency as much as anyone can? Enter Gradey Dick. Future Samson here. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. So I wanted to look further than the advanced stats on NBA.com, which limits us to catch and shoot, pull up, and varying info around dribbles used and closest defender. And I wanted to find how many shots Gradey took that emulated what we've seen from fantastic movement shooters of the past and present. The results? In short, well, the Raptors may have one of the NBA's best movement shooters going forward. For this, I had to separate Gradey's season into 2 parts. One, the start, which was 20 games where nothing went right and everyone worried about what was happening with him. And number 2, the second half of his season, which was comprised of 40 games. And this came after Gradey had begun a more intensive strength training program, had spent time in the G League, and he had joined the Raptors rotation for consistent minutes every game. The first part of Gradey's season showcased a failure to reward a lot of his great off-ball movement because he wasn't making shots. You'd see him perfectly form to a drive, be that a lift in the pick and roll, a semicircle cut behind a drive, a Danny Green cut on the baseline, whatever you'd like, and quite frankly, he would miss the easy shots that were falling into his hands. Through his first 20 games, Gradey shot 24% from downtown, 25.6% on catch and shoot triples, and 18.5% on wide open threes. That's horrific. It's terrible. And in that time span, he shot 3 of 17 on his movement threes and 2 of 6 on movement mid-range jumpers. Basically, one of the best shooters of their draft, the best, I reckon, was completely failing to produce with their standout skill set. Okay, let's talk about the sexy stats I went looking for and that you can find nowhere else. Simply put, Gradey Dick was sublime as a movement shooter once he hit the rotation. Over the last 40 games of his season, he was 23 of 51 for 45% on his movement threes, and 22 of 51, 43% on movement mid-range jumpers. And you watch this and see how easy it is for a two-man action between Gradey and whoever can help give countless possessions a second life. Sprinting up the floor 27 feet away into a dribble handoff for a bomb, that's elite shot making. Flaring away from plays, using the triple threat and a pump to shake loose against out of control closeouts. Sprinting into the corner to make baseline out of bound plays more dangerous. It's really easy to see a future where Gradey punishes countless split action coverages, whether teams climb over the top and leave themselves susceptible to the check down pass, or if they gear up on a basket cutting Scotty Barnes to leave Gradey open. A shooter doesn't just make shots. A shooter pulls bigs out past the top of the key. A shooter pulls help defenders within a step of the three-point line. And a shooter doesn't let you relax one pass away above the break. A movement shooter keeps applying the pressure as defense ramps up. And in the mid-range, we can really see that he's able to fade in all directions. He's able to piece together a lot of different footwork, whether it's right to left or left to right. He sprints through actions. He beats contests by going up over top. He's really talented here. And in the mid-range, we're obviously seeing Gradey flow out of pin downs and stagger sets, very deliberate actions for a shooter, and he's canning some of the catch and shoot looks while moving. In addition to that, he's able to take the plays in stride, read how his defenders are playing him, and use snake dribbles, pump fakes, and jab steps, whatever you'd like, really, to break free into more comfortable pockets on the floor. He's a jump shooter. He jumps. He's tall, and he rises up over guys in tight spaces. And consider this. One of the hallmarks of his Kansas play was the passing against hard contests at the level of the screen, and that hasn't really been represented with the Raptors, but I reckon that shows up next season. Teams aren't totally losing their minds to track Gradey off ball, and the best way to deter him is jamming him at the line and rerouting him. But there's a lot of difficult attempts that we're seeing here, and he's more than comfortable getting those difficult shots up. Shots that move the chains, shots that can stop runs, shots that will inevitably get better as he improves, and shots that will warp coverages for years to come. I know the Raptors have ideas and plans about how Gradey can grow his on ball game, and we see a bit of it in the pull up repertoire plus the empty side reads, but it's hard not to just focus on and be excited for how much value they can glean from sending him sprinting all around the court. The Raptors have been pretty intentional about where they place Emmanuel Quickly and Gradey to manipulate weak side tags for Barnes and Barrett drives, and they can ramp that kind of stuff up next season. It's as simple as running Gradey off of a stagger action, allowing him to hunt for a shot or an automatic to a handoff and filter to the weak side. You spend 4 seconds of the shot clock to give a great shooter a look, and it immediately pivots to a pick and roll with good floor balance. That's just one simple example. In talking to an Eastern Conference team scout, they said this to me about Gradey, quote, I had been waiting to see if he'd hit the shots at the NBA level just to see if guys would have to spend the energy chasing him around. Now, I'm waiting to see how he fills out his body to add that aspect to getting open, grinding for space and winning sometimes. Because if he's as good as I think he'll be, then I think a lot of smaller players will have to chase him around. Other 6'7", 6'8" guys don't want to be pursuing a movement shooter all the time. If Gradey puts on weight, he'll be able to punish either type of defender. And so after a rookie season that started out quite nightmarish for Gradey and the Raptors, his ceiling has become pretty clear. Who better to pair with your elite feel, elite passing wing than a hyper-vigilant movement shooter? There's lots of reads on the Raptors table, and they're building a team of voracious page flippers. There's so much more to look into with Gradey's game, and there's so many avenues for him to become a better player. However, jumping into this and looking at this major skill of his, it's really hard to come away and not be extremely enthused with how it's gone so far. He really might be a special shooter. And just as a quick mention, if you're a content creator and you want to cover some of Gradey's game, I have assorted all of his movement makes into a couple videos, and I've actually collected all of his made jumpers over the course of the season. You can click the links and you can pull that for your own work if you'd like. And if you're just somebody who just wants to watch Gradey make all the jumpers over the course of the season, that's there too. It'll be in the bio. Okay, thanks everybody for hopping along. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And I hope you come away feeling more positive about Gradey Dick than you did before. All right, I've been Samson Folk. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you.